Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. This is lecture number 6. Let's start. So first we take a review of last lecture. In last lecture we discussed introduction to Microsoft Excel spreadsheet program, and we gave you basic overview of Microsoft Excel and its basic environment, basic windows and basic features of Microsoft Excel. And then we discussed some of the basic concepts. One was how to enter a sequence of numbers using AutoList function, and then using cell references in MS Excel, and in particular we discussed absolute cell references and the relative cell references with the help of certain examples. And then we discussed some built-in functions of Microsoft Excel, including sum function, min functions, the max functions, etc. And in addition, we have also discussed in our previous lecture that how to construct frequency tables using MS Excel. And in particular, we discussed frequency distributions for quantitative data, and where we discussed discrete frequency distribution and continuous, which is also called grouped frequency distributions. And we have also discussed how to construct frequency distribution for qualitative data in Microsoft Excel. So this was all which we have covered in our previous lecture. So now let us discuss the objectives of the current lecture. So in this lecture, our main focus is to again give you an overview of Microsoft Excel. So it will be a recap. So I will just discuss the basic features of Microsoft Excel in a different context in order to give you a better idea of using Microsoft Excel. And then our main focus in this lecture will be creating charts in Microsoft Excel, how we can construct different types of graphs in Microsoft Excel. And in particular, we will discuss how to construct graphs for the qualitative data, where we will discuss bar charts, and we will discuss certain types of bar charts, including simple bar chart, multiple bar chart, and component bar chart. In addition, we will also discuss pie chart, which is also used to graph the qualitative data. In addition, we will also discuss how to graph the quantitative data, and in particular we will discuss scatter plot, how to construct scatter plot in Microsoft Excel, and how to construct histogram using Microsoft Excel. So these are the objectives of this lecture. So let's start. So in addition, I will try to cover how to use Excel add-ins. So Excel add-ins are small programs which we can use in Excel to perform different types of functions, which actually are which we cannot do using simple Excel spreadsheet program. So using Excel add-ins, we can perform different types of tasks more easily. So we will try to cover how to use Excel add-ins, and in particular we will focus on the data analysis tool pack, which is an Excel add-in. So let's start. So first task is to explain the sum functions. So for this, suppose we have a list of numbers and we want to find the sum of the numbers in the list. So we can use built-in sum function to get the sum of all the numbers. So here in Excel sheet, suppose we have a list of numbers, suppose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we want to get the sum of these 5 numbers. So we can do this by using a built-in function which is called the sum function. So just put an equal sign and just type sum, and then within the parentheses you have to type the cell addresses. So here sum of J3 colon J7. These two vertical dots, they are called colon. So colon is used to represent range. So J3 is the start point and J7 is the end point. So this list starts at J3 and it ends at J7. So sum J3 to J7 mean this will add the numbers which are located in this range J3 to J7. It means from J3, J4, J5, J6, J7. These 5 numbers will be added. So just press enter. So sum of these 5 numbers is 15. So this is how we can use the sum function. So suppose let me construct another list. So 2, 4, 6, etc. So just construct 2 numbers in the list and just copy it down, let's say up to 20, and now suppose we want to find the sum of these numbers. So just put an equal sign, again type the sum command, and within the parenthesis the required cell range. So sum of L3 to L12. So this will add the numbers lying within this range. So just press enter. So the sum of these numbers is 110, 110 is the sum. So this is how we can use the simple built-in sum function in order to get the sum of different numbers in a list. So our next objective is that consider the following data and answers the questions. So here is the data. So we have data on 5 students. Name of students, let's say student A, B, C, D and E, and their marks in 4 subjects: English, Urdu, Math and Science. So this is hypothetical data. Suppose in a certain quiz students got different marks, they obtained different marks where the total marks in each quiz, total marks are 5. So out of 5, student A got in English quiz, student A got 4 numbers out of 5, and similarly student A got 3 marks out of 5 in Urdu, and next student A got 4 marks in mathematics out of 5. So similarly in science the student A got 2 out of 5, and similarly we have data on student B. Of the 4 subjects, student C, D and student E. So now we have certain questions here. So we want to answer these questions using some built-in Excel functions. So first question is, what is the maximum marks in English? So maximum marks in English, so here is the list of these are the marks in English obtained by 5 students. So student A obtained 4 marks, student B obtained 5 marks, student C obtained 2 marks, student D obtained 1 mark, and student E obtained 5 marks. So question is, what is the maximum marks in English? So we have a list of marks of English of 5 students. So we want to find the maximum marks. So here in this cell just type the max, use the max function to find the maximum number in this list of 5 numbers. So max of C13 to G13, so this will give us the maximum number in this list. So just press enter. So maximum number is 5. So what is the maximum marks in English? So the answer is 5. So we have used the simple max function in order to provide the suitable answer. So just use the max function to get the maximum number in a list. So let us move to the next question. It is, what are the minimum marks in science? So here is the science subject. So the minimum marks in science are, so we can use again the min function. This time instead of maximum function we can use the min function. So min of C16 to G16, so it is 2. So it means the minimum marks in science they are 2, and 3 students, student E, B and A, 3 students, they got 2 marks. So minimum marks in this question in the science subjects they are 2. Next question is, in which subject student A got highest marks? So in which subject student A got highest marks. So it means now our focus is student A. So we need to find out the maximum marks or highest marks. We need to find the subject in which student A got highest marks. So we can use the max function in order to answer this question. So in order to find the maximum or highest marks of student A, so just use the max command and find the maximum marks. So max of C13 to C16. So the maximum marks obtained by student, they are 4, and the maximum marks are 4, and the student A obtained 4 marks in mathematics as well as in English. So it means in which subject student A got highest marks. So student A got highest marks in English as well as in mathematics, and each of the case the student obtained 4 marks. So next question is calculate total marks of each student. So we need to calculate total marks of each student. So here is I have I have labeled this cell as total marks. So here I am going to use the sum command in order to find the sum of marks of student A. So sum of C13 to C16, so this will add up all the numbers, all the marks of 4 subjects as far as student A is concerned. So just press enter. So total marks obtained by student A, they are 13. So now similarly we can use the sum function here again to find the total marks obtained by student B. So it is sum of D13 to D16. So student B obtained a total of 16 marks. So similarly sum of marks obtained by student C, so 14, and sum of marks obtained by student D, they are 12. So you can see that we can use the sum function to find the total marks in each subject. So there is a short way to do the same thing. Instead of using sum function and again, so we can just use the sum function. We can find the sum using the sum function for the student A only, and then take your mouse cursor to bottom right corner of this cell and drag it in horizontal direction. So that's it. So here you can see that the same command has been copied. So previously it was sum of C13 to C16. So now it is changed to sum of D13 to D16, and sum of E13 to E16, and sum of F13 to F16, and so on. Here it is sum of G13 to G16. So this is how we can use the relative cell references. So C13 to C16, it changed to D13 to D16, which changes to E13 to E16, then F13 to F16, and now G13 to G16. So calculate total marks of each student. So total marks of each students have been calculated. So student B obtained the highest marks in this in the class in all 4 subjects. So next question is calculate max and min marks of all students in each subject. So in order to calculate minimum marks, so we can use the min function. In order to calculate max marks, we can use the max function. So just type here the min command. So min of C13 to C16, and similarly calculate max marks. So max of C13 to C16, press enter. So minimum marks obtained by student A, they are 2, and maximum marks are 4. So just select both cells and take your mouse cursor to bottom right corner. It changes to from flat plus sign to small plus sign, and now drag it horizontally. So this will copy both the commands, the max and min commands, to each of these additional 4 cells. So here it is. So this is minimum of D13 to D16 and max of D13 to D16. Similarly here we have minimum marks and the maximum marks obtained by student C. and last one, the maximum marks obtained by student E and the minimum marks obtained by student E. So this is how we can use the built-in Excel functions in order to answer some of the basic questions. We will study in this course some additional built-in functions. So each function is related to certain topics which we will cover in this course. So I will explain these functions when we will cover those topics. So currently this should be very much clear that using this some built-in functions we can these built-in functions, they can make our job quite easy. So next task is to create how to construct charts in Microsoft Excel, and in particular we will keep our focus on the constructing bar charts, and we will discuss its three types: simple, multiple and component bar charts, and we will also discuss how to construct pie charts in Microsoft Excel. And remember that these charts are usually used to graph the qualitative data. So let's start with simple bar chart for qualitative data. So here the same party affiliation example is used. So you can see that this is the frequency distribution of for the party affiliation data. So we have the data on 30 students, and we ask them which political party they favor. So out of 30 students, 10 favored PTI, 9 favored PMLN, 6 favored PMLQ, and 5 favor Pakistan People's Party PPP. So I have reduced their names. Instead of writing PMLN in full, I have just used the N, and similarly PMLQ, so I have used only Q, and instead of PPP I have used only the letter P. So it doesn't affect whether you use the full name or their abbreviated name. So this is frequency distribution. So we have a total of 30 students. So we want to construct a simple bar chart of this data. So here in order to construct simple bar chart, take the parties along x-axis, so PTI, PMLN, PMLQ and PPP, and their frequencies along y-axis, and then corresponding to each category. So suppose let us consider the first category, which is PTI. Its frequency is 10. So at this first category, so construct a bar with height equals to 10. So here is the first bar, and then the second bar PMLN, its frequency is 9. So construct a bar with height equal to 9. So 9 lies between 8 and 10. So this is how you can construct simple bar chart. And remember that the height is proportional to, height is equal to this frequency, and the width of this bar, this should be same. So width of first bar should be same as the width of second bar, and same rule applies for the third and fourth bar. So widths are same, but the height is proportional to the frequency. So whatever the value of frequency is, the height will take that particular value. So similarly PMLQ, its frequency is 6, so the height of this bar will be equal to 6. And similarly for PPP, its frequency is 5, so construct a bar with height equal to 5, which lies between 4 and 6. So this is how we can construct simple bar chart. So you can increase the width of bars as well. You can even shorten the width of each bar as well, but remember that the width of all bars must be equal, whereas the height should be same as height should be proportional to the frequency. So this is how we can construct simple bar chart. So here I have just shifted the x and y axis. So now parties are taken along y-axis and frequencies are taken along x-axis. So sometimes the bars are drawn in horizontal direction instead of vertical direction. So Here again the PTI, its frequency is 10. So PMLN, its frequency is 9, which lies between 8 and 10. And similarly PMLQ, its frequency is 6, and PPP, its frequency is 5, which lies between 4 and 6. So that's it. So here this is the horizontal bar chart. Previous was the vertical bar chart. So only difference between the two types is that now the bars are drawn in horizontal direction instead of in vertical direction. So now parties are along y-axis, whereas the frequencies are taken along x-axis. So this is how we can construct simple bar chart. So next we discuss relative frequency bar chart. So instead of taking frequencies along y-axis, we can also take the relative frequencies along y-axis. This is also called the percentage. So instead of taking the simple frequencies, we can use the percentages or the relative frequencies on the y-axis, and we can construct a simple bar chart. So we know that the relative frequency can be calculated by dividing each frequency by the total frequency. So first relative frequency is 10 divided by 30. So 10 divided by 30 is 0.3333. So similarly 9 divided by 30, it is 0.30. 6 divided by 30, it is 0.20, and 5 divided by 30, it is 0.1666, which is 0.1667. So remember that this sum of all the relative frequencies, this must be equal to 1. If it is different from 1, it means you did certain type of mistake. So this is very important to note, that sum of all relative frequencies must be 100% or it should be equal to 1. So now again take parties along x-axis and take their relative frequencies along y-axis. So just draw the bars with height. Now in this case it should be proportional to the relative frequencies. So relative frequency of first category PTI is 0.333. So just draw a bar with height equal to 0.333. So here is 0.333. Similarly PMLN, the second category, its relative frequency is 0.30. So this height is at 0.30. So similarly next is 0.20 PMLQ, so its height is 0.2, and next is 0.1667 for PPP, so it is 0.1667, so it is slightly higher than 0.15. So that's it. The procedure is same, only y-axis has been replaced with the relative frequencies instead of simple frequencies. So here is the same chart, but the x-axis and y-axis, they have been interchanged. Now we have the parties along y-axis and their relative frequencies along x-axis. So you can see that PTI 0.333, so it is a horizontal bar with length proportional to length equal to 0.333, and similarly PMLN, it's a frequency 0.30, and so on. So this is how we can construct simple bar chart, and for simple frequency distribution as well as for the relative frequency distribution. So let us construct these two bar charts in Microsoft Excel. So here is our data in Microsoft Excel spreadsheet program. So we have parties and their corresponding frequencies. So just select both columns, so parties and frequencies. There is no need to select this last row containing total. So just select both columns and go to Insert tab and then go to columns and select this option. So here we have 2D columns, and we can also construct 3D chart as well. So we can also construct graphs in cylindrical format, but anyway currently select 2D columns. Later you can experiment by selecting different options. So let us select this first option in 2D columns. So that's it. So here is the required graph. So you can see that along x-axis we have parties and along y-axis we have their frequencies. So you can see that from this table the PTI The frequency corresponding to first category PTI is 10. So here PTI, its frequency is 10. And next 9. So PMLN 9, which lies between 8 and 10. It is exactly in the middle of 8 and 10, which is 9. So that's it. So here, so I have explained how you can construct simple bar chart in Microsoft Excel. So right click on this chart and select move chart. And here you can move this chart to new sheet, and you can even provide a suitable name here. The default name provided by Excel is chart 1. So here we can put a suitable name, bar chart. Bar chart. Okay, so here is our required graph. You can even add suitable titles as well. So let me first increase the fonts so that these x-axis and y-axis, their labels are visible. So right click. So here is the font option. So increase the font to around 16. So now you can see that these x-axis and y-axis numbers are visible. So here we have this chart tools, the design option, then layout, then format. So in the design you can change the colors. So there are a number of options. You can experiment with different options. So in the layout we have chart title. So none mean we don't want to display a chart title. So above the chart, if we want to place the chart title above chart, centered overlay, we want to place the chart title in the middle, in the center of the chart. So currently the mostly used option is the above chart. So select this option, and here we have already a title. So here you can provide, you can remove this one, delete this one, and you can provide a suitable title. So suppose the title is bar chart, simple bar chart. And next select axis title. In horizontal title, title below axis, select this option, and here provide suitable title. So we have title which is parties or political parties, and similarly select this option and vertical axis title. So here you can place the vertical title in rotated form, in vertical title, or in horizontal title. So you can experiment with different options. I am selecting rotated title. So here just provide the title. You can even type in this bar. This is called formula bar. So I am typing here frequencies. So frequencies. So that's it. So again increase the font from 10 to 16. So that's it. So this is a professional chart. So here this box is called the legend entry. So it displays that this green color, it indicates frequencies. So height of bar indicates frequencies corresponding to each of the categories or each of the political parties. So here is the output. So you can see that we can also shift the output in Microsoft Word. So just click on this chart, and you can even resize the chart as well. So here you can provide suitable explanations. So this is how to construct simple bar chart in Microsoft Excel spreadsheet program. So suppose now you want to create horizontal bar chart. So again select the data, go to insert, columns, and select all chart types. So here is the column, and here we have the bars. So now you can see that the bars are in horizontal direction. So select this first option, click OK. So this is the same chart. You can provide suitable title, x-axis title and y-axis title as well. So this is how you can construct simple bar chart in Microsoft Excel. So let us move to the relative frequency bar chart. So here is the data, the same data, the same frequency distribution. So in order to calculate relative frequency, so just divide each of the frequency by the total frequency. So just put an equal sign and type D4 slash for division and then D8. So this will divide D4 by D8. And note that I have used the dollar signs with D8. This is because I want to keep this cell number which is located in D8 as fixed. Why I did this? Because when you will copy this command downward, so D4 will change to D5, which is 9 here, and whereas the D8 will remain as fixed. So it means this 9 will be divided by this 30. So we need to divide each of these frequencies by the same number. So it means we have to keep this 30 number as fixed. So that's why I have used dollar signs to fix it. So that this means that I am using absolute cell references here, whereas I have not used the dollar sign with D4 because when I will copy this command downward, D4 will change to D5, which is actually 9, whereas D8 will remain same due to these dollar signs. So 9 divided by 30, it is 0.3, and again copying it down, so D5 will change to D6, which is 6 here, divided by D8, that is 30, you will get 0.2, and so on. So just copy it down. So here you can see that D7 over D8. So the sum should be equal to 1. So if sum is different from 1, it means you did certain type of mistake. So now we want to construct a graph of bar chart of relative frequencies. So select this first column, the parties, and press the control button from your keyboard, keep pressing it down, and next select the relative frequency column. So I have used this control key because I don't want to select the this middle column containing frequencies. So alternative way is to just copy the parties, the first column and third column in some other place side by side, and then construct a column select chart type as column, and you will get the simple bar chart. So first select parties, press the control button, keep pressing it down, and then select the relative frequencies. That's it. Go to insert tab and columns and 2D columns. So this time I am selecting 3D columns option. So here is the required graph. So you can see that this chart is 3D, that bars are their displays 3D display. So this is more charming. Its look is much improved as compared to the simple 2D graph. So if you want to present your if you want to give your presentation, if you want to present your data to at any official level, you can place these attractive graphs. So here it is, the PTI, it is 0.33, PMLN, it is its frequency is 0.3. So here PMLN, its frequency is 0.3. So let me draw the simple graph instead of 3D. So go to insert columns, 2D columns. So here it is. So 0.33, next 0.3, next 0.2, and last one 0.1666. So that's it. You can provide suitable title, axis labels, and y-axis titles as well. So this is how to produce simple bar chart. So next we discuss multiple bar chart. So multiple bar chart shows two or more characteristics corresponding to values of a common variable in the form of a grouped bars, so whose lengths are proportional to the values of the characteristics. So here we construct a bar chart containing different bars, so one for each category. So length of each bar is proportional to the values of the characteristic. So let us explain this idea with the help of an example. So draw multiple bar chart to show the area and production of cotton in Punjab for the following data. So here we have some very old data set. So in 1965 to 66, area in 1000 acres it was 2866, and the production in 1000 bales it was 1588. And similarly in 1970 to 71 we have area as well as production. and in 1975 to 6 we have the data of area of cotton and production of cotton in Punjab. So this is the data. So now you can see that we have two characteristics. One is area, second one is production. So we want to display this information with the help of multiple bar charts. So in this case, two bars will be drawn, one for area and second one for production, and on along x-axis we will take area and we will construct two bars. So here is the chart which is shown, which is produced by Microsoft Excel, and it is shown here. So you can see that along x-axis we have years 65 to 66, next 70, 71, next 75 to 76, and along y-axis we have the corresponding frequencies. So you can see that the first frequency, this green bars, they are, this legend entry shows that green bars, they are used to represent area in 1000 acres, whereas the reddish one, the dark brown, they represents the production in 1000 bales. So let us focus on this first bar chart. So area is 2866. So the height is proportional to, it is equal to 2866, and the production in the same year is 1588. So you can see that we have two bars now for the same year. So this is called multiple bar chart. Similarly for the 1970 to 71 we have two bars with corresponding frequencies, and for 75 to 76 we have the data. So you can construct these graphs by hand as well. So but here we are using Microsoft Excel. So but you should be well prepared with how to construct graphs by hand as well as in Microsoft Excel. So let us construct the same chart in Microsoft Excel spreadsheet program. So here is the same data. So area, so we have in the first column years, second column area, and third column production in 1000 bales. So in order to construct multiple bar chart, just highlight the data, all three columns. So select them, go to insert tab, and then in the columns, and now we need to select this first option, which is 2D columns. So that's it. So here is the same graph which was shown in PowerPoint slides, and you can even just provide suitable titles here. X-axis title is years, y-axis frequencies, and you can provide that this is production and area of cotton. So this will be the title, or even you can provide any other suitable title as well. So you can change the color of bars. So that's it. So there is one additional point which I want to add here. So just right click on first bar, and here we have the option add data labels. So just select this option. So you can see that now labels have been added here. So this indicates the exact number, the height of the bar is being shown here on the top. So this increases the readability. So this is additional feature. So in future you should add this option as well. Similarly, click on the second bar. So you can see that all these three bars, they have been selected. So right click and select add data labels. So that's it. So this graph is comparatively more professional as compared to the graph having which is without data labels. So this is how we can construct multiple bar chart in Microsoft Excel. So here is the graph. Component bar chart has been shown here. Along x-axis we have classes BBA, MBA, MS, PhD, and along y-axis we have number of students. So look at the first category. There are 33 male students in BBA. So just construct a bar with height equal to 33. So this represents the male students. And then there are 32 female students. So now start counting the number of female students from the point where we have ended with male students. So start with 33 and you have to move up 32 units, which is the number of female students. So from 32 to 30, from 33 you have to add 32 to it. So 33 plus 32, we end up at 65. So this height goes up to 65. So that's it. So you can see that this total height, which is 65, it is subdivided into two parts. First portion containing 33 students which are male, and the remaining portion, it contains 32 students which are females. So that's why it is called the component bar chart, because one bar is divided into different components. So here this bar is divided into two components. The first component represents the male students, whereas the second component represents the female students. So similarly for MBA, the second category, so 32 students are male, so first draw the bar with height equal to 32, and 28 students are females. So from 32 start counting 28 upward. So 32 to 28 you will end up with 60. So this will be 60. So it means the total height of this bar is 60, which is subdivided into two parts, 32 for male individuals and 28 for female students. And similarly the next one will be 21, containing 21 male students and 19 female students, total 40 students. So this is how we can construct component bar chart using our basic calculations by hand. So let us do the same thing in MS Excel. So here is the data. So we have data on classes, males, females and total. So we want to construct a component bar chart. So just select first three columns without considering this total. So classes, male and female, and go to insert tab, select columns, and here you can see that we have the component chart options. So select this one. So that's it. So you can see that BBA, the first portion indicates male, second one indicates females. So right click on this portion, you can see that all these three blue bars which indicates male students, they have been highlighted or selected. So right click, select add data labels. So that's it. So these labels have been added. You can see that all labels are selected. So go to home and change the color to white in order to get a clear view of these numbers. So 33 male students, 32 male students here in MBA and 21 in MS PhD program. Similarly, select the top bars for female students. All the bars have been selected. This is indicated by these 4 dots at the corners of each bar. So right click and add data labels, and click on data label, change the color to white. So again, add suitable title, the main title, x-axis and y-axis title, and that's it. So you can use this graph for any professional purpose. So this is how we can draw component bar chart in MS Excel. So next we discuss the pie charts. So how to construct pie charts for qualitative data. So a pie chart, which is also called a sector diagram, it is a graph consisting of a circle which is divided into different parts or different sectors whose areas are proportional to the various parts into which whole quantity is divided. So here is a pie chart which is constructed for the data on expenditure in 100 rupees on different items. So for food, for clothing, for rent, for fuel and for miscellaneous items. So from this pie chart you can see that this blue color, it represents food. So this blue color it is showing the major portion. So we can see that there the expenditure for food is the highest as compared to all the 4 categories. And next for clothing, the green color, and rent, the black one, and then fuel and miscellaneous item, the yellow one. So you can see that this total expenditure, it has been subdivided into these 5 categories. So food, clothing, rent, fuel and miscellaneous. So we can construct pie chart by hand as well as using Microsoft Excel spreadsheet program. So let us explain it with a clear example. So question is, represent the expenditures on various items of a family by a pie chart. So here in first column we have different items: food, clothing, rent, fuel, miscellaneous, and in second column we have expenditure in 100 rupees. So for food 50 rupees, and for clothing 30, and for rent 20, for fuel 15, and miscellaneous item 35. So this 50 means 50 times 100, so it means around 5,000, and this 30 means 30 because this each of these expenditure they are represented in 100 rupees. So 50 multiply 100, 5,000, 30 multiply 100, 3,000, and so on. So this is the data. We want to represent this data with the help of a pie chart. So remember that we have discussed in our previous lecture that we need to find the angle of sector before constructing a pie chart. So first draw a circle and then then subdivide the circle into different parts by measuring the corresponding angle of the sector. So this, in order to find this angle, so it is 50 divided by 150 into 360. So we get 120 degree. So similarly, 30 divided by 150 into 360, you get 72 degree. 20 by 150, it is 40 into 360, you get 48 degree, and so on. So let me do it for the first case. So it is 50 divided by total, which is 150 into 360. So this 53 times 150 and 3 into 120, so we get 120 degree. So similarly, 30 over 150 into 360, you get 72 degree, and so on. So the sum of these all angles, it should be equal to 360 degree. If it is different from 360 degree, again you did certain type of mistake. You need to cross check your calculations. So once you have calculated the angle of each sector, so next draw a circle. So let's say here is a circle, and here is the 90 degree line. So now the first sector, the first category, food, it has an angle of 120 degree. So just put the protector here. So just measure, start from 0. Here you know that it is of 90 degree. So this is, I am talking about this protector, which is also called D. It is 0 degree. Then here we have 90 degree. Here we have 180 degree. So just put the D here and start measuring 120 degree. So it will be somewhat here. So this angle, it is 120 degree. So this angle which is drawn here, it is of 120 degree. Next is 72. So again put the D here and measure the 72 degree angle from this line. So suppose it is up to at this point. So this is 72 degree. So from this point to this is 72 degree. Similarly 48. So from this point to this we have 48 degree, and from this point to this one we have 36, and last one from this point to this we have 84 degree. So the complete circle, which is of 360 degree, it has been subdivided into different angles, which are angles of sector corresponding to each of the categories. So this is how we can construct pie chart by hand with the help of protector. So Excel can draw the pie chart for us. So let us draw the pie chart using Microsoft Excel. So here is the same data, items and expenditure. So just select the items and expenditure without selecting that row containing totals. Go to insert, and here is the pie chart. So you can see there are different options. So select the simplest one, the first one. So that's it. So here is the required chart: the food, clothing, rent, fuel, miscellaneous. So just click on this pie chart, the circular area. So you can see that all the sectors, they have been highlighted or selected. So right click, select add labels. So labels have been added, but they are not quite visible. So click on any of the labels, go to home and change its color to white. So that's it. So here are the numbers. So this 50 for food, so this label has label has been appeared here. So similarly 30 for clothing and 20 for rent, and next fuel 15 and miscellaneous 35. You can even change the color of any of the these circular regions, which are called sectors. So select on any portion. So I have selected this 50, so go to design and so select this and go to 40, click on fill shape, so you can change color here of any of your choice. Similarly, if you want to change this color, so fill shape, so you can adjust the colors. So that's it. You can add suitable title as well. So that's it. This is how we can construct pie chart in Microsoft Excel spreadsheet program. So now let us discuss how we can construct scatter plot. So let us explain it with the help of an example. The local ice cream shop keeps track of how much ice cream they sell versus the temperature on that day. So here are the figures for the last 12 days. So we have the data on temperature in degrees centigrade and the ice cream sales in dollars. So on the first day the temperature was 14.2 degrees centigrade and the corresponding sale was $215 and so on. So we have data on temperature and ice cream sales. So question is, construct a scatter diagram for this data. So let us discuss how we can construct scatter diagram. So the method is that to make a scatter plot, take temperature along x-axis and ice cream sales along y-axis, and then construct draw each pair of points and make a plot. So here the temperature is taken along x-axis, ice cream sales is taken along y-axis. So then this first dot, it represents the ice cream the temperature around 12 point something and the ice cream sales around 200. So similarly this second point, it represents ice cream sale temperature around 14 degrees centigrade and ice cream sale around 200 something. So this is the first point, 14.2 and 215. So you can construct all these points, you can draw them and you can get the scatter plot. So here is the scatter plot which is shown here. Along x-axis we have temperatures in degrees centigrade and along y-axis we have sales in dollars. So just look at these temperature numbers and try to find the maximum and minimum number. So maximum temperature is around 25. So just start from 0 and taking suitable difference, let's say 5 units. So 0, 5, 10, and you have to go up to 25.1. So let us go to the 30 so that this number, which is 25.1, it should be covered in this range. And along y-axis we have ice cream sales. So you need to look at you need to find the here again the max and min number. So here the maximum number is 614. So draw a suitable scale by taking gap or step of 100 units, so 0, 100, 200, and you have to go up to 700. So 700 because we need to cover this number, the highest number. So now just focus on the first point, which is 14.2. So here is around 14.2 along x-axis. So just make a dot here, and sales 215. So locate 215 in y-axis. So it is around here. So now connect these two dots, x and y-axis. So here is the point where both dots, temperature is 14.2 and ice cream sale is 215. So this is our dot which represents 14.2 along x-axis and 215 along y-axis. So this is the point. So similarly 16.4 along x-axis, so which will be somewhat here, and along y-axis we have 325. So 325 is around here. So join these 2 points. So this is the dot. So similarly, following this procedure, you can trace this graph. So all these dots have been drawn using this way. So this is how we can construct scatter plot. So from the scatter plot, you can see that the slope of this graph is positive. So when the temperature increases, the sale also increases, or it goes up. So it means there is a positive relation between temperature and ice cream sales. So now let us draw the scatter plot in Microsoft Excel. So here is the same data, temperature data and ice cream sales data. So in order to construct a scatter plot, just select both columns, go to insert, and this time select this scatter chart option. So there are a number of options. You can display the chart in the form of dots which are not connected, or you can connect the dots as well. So there are a number of options. So select the first one. So that's it. Here is the same chart which was displayed in PowerPoint slides. So you can change the color of the graph. So there are a number of options. You can add suitable titles as well. So that's it. So this is how we can construct scatter plot in Microsoft Excel spreadsheet program. So let us discuss how to construct histograms for the quantitative data. So let me explain the idea of histogram with the help of an example. So consider example states that construct a histogram for the temperature data. So here is the data which we have discussed in our previous lectures. It is the temperature in 20 days. So on first day the temperature was recorded was 24 degrees centigrade, and on second day it was 35, and on last day it was 27 degrees centigrade. So we are interested in constructing a histogram for this data. So in order to construct a histogram, first find the minimum number. So minimum temperature is 12 and maximum temperature is found to be 58. You can use the max and min commands to find the maximum and minimum value. So maximum temperature is 58, whereas the minimum is 12. So just find the range, which is the difference of max and min value. So maximum minus minimum, it is range. So 58 minus 12, we get 46. And then number of classes, how many classes you want to construct. So this is up to you. So usually the number of classes should be between 5 to 15. It should not be less than 5, or it should not be greater than 15. So let us choose the number of classes as 5. So then select, then the width of each class will be, it is obtained by dividing the range by the number of classes. So 46 divided by 5. So we get 9.2, or approximately we can consider it as 10. So I will take the class interval or width of each class as 10 units. So now the minimum number is 12. So let us construct a column and indicate this column as class limits. So start from 10 and taking the width approximately 10 units. So 10 to 20, and next 21 to 30. You can even start at 11 as well. So 21 to 30, then 31 to 40, 41 to 50, 51 to 60. So here you need to start from 11 in order to be consistent with rest of the classes. So now count the number of classes which falls number of data points which fall within these two limits from 11 to 20. So you can use the tally-bar method to calculate the frequencies. So here there are 3 days having temperature from 11 to 20 degrees centigrade. There are 7 days having temperature from 21 to 30. There are 4 days having temperature 31 to 40, and 4 41 to 50, and 2 from 51 to 60. So remember that in order to construct histogram, so we need to calculate class boundaries. So in order to calculate class boundaries, so just take the difference of the lowest boundary of second class and highest class limit of second class. So just take the difference. So it is 21 minus 20, so which is actually 1. So divide this difference by 2. So 1 by 2, it is 0.5. So subtract this number 0.5 from this lower limit. So 11 minus 0.5, you get 10.5, and add the same number 0.5 to this upper limit. So it is 20.5, and then subtract 0.5 from 21, you get 20.5. Add 0.5 to 30, we get 30.5, and so on. So now in order to construct histogram, so just take class boundaries CB. I am using CB for class boundaries. Take class boundaries along x-axis. So 0, 10.5, here we have 20.5, here we have 30.5, 40.5, 50.5, and last one 60.5. And along y-axis we have frequencies. So frequencies, the maximum is 7, so you can go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So 2, 4, 6, and 8. So now the first class boundary ranges from 10.5 to 20.5. So it is 10.5 to 20.5, and its frequency is 3. So just draw a bar with height equal to 3. So that's it. So next histogram, it starts from 20.5, which is the same point, and it goes to 30.5, which is here, and its frequency is 7. So construct a bar with height equals to 7. So similarly, next one is 4 from 30 to 40.5. So 30 to 40.5, it has to go up to 4. So that's it. So next one is 4, 40 to 50. It has same height, 4. And last one is 2. So this is how we can construct histogram. So you need to note several points regarding histogram, that how histogram is different from the bar chart. The first point which should be noted is that along x-axis now we have class boundaries, and whereas the y-axis is same as frequencies, and the bars are now, there is no gap between the bars, they are connected bars. So whereas in case of simple bar chart, there is a suitable difference between each bar, but here in case of histogram, the bars are connected. So this is how we can construct histogram using calculations by hand. So later we will explain how we can construct histogram in Microsoft Excel as well. So let us review what we have covered in today's lecture. So in today's lecture, we have recapped what we have discussed in our previous lecture, and in particular I have given you a basic overview of Microsoft Excel, and we have discussed some of the basic functions, the sum functions, the max and min functions of Microsoft Excel spreadsheet program. And then we have discussed how to create charts in Microsoft Excel, and in particular we have discussed how to graph qualitative data with the help of bar charts, where we have constructed simple, multiple as well as component bar charts. And then in addition we have discussed pie chart, which is also used to represent the qualitative data. And then we have discussed two methods for the quantitative data. So how to graph quantitative data? So first one, which is called scatter plot, and second one is called the histogram. In the next lecture we will discuss how to use Excel add-ins, and in particular we will discuss how to activate Excel add-ins, and we will keep our focus on the one very important Excel add-in, which is analysis tool pack, and we will discuss how to use analysis tool pack in order to get basic summary statistics and how to construct histogram using this analysis tool pack Excel add-in. And in the later half of next lecture we will discuss measures of central tendency, and we will discuss characteristics of a good average, and in particular we will focus on one measure of central tendency, which is called arithmetic mean or simply the mean. We will discuss different methods of calculating arithmetic mean. In particular we will discuss how to calculate arithmetic mean for the ungrouped data as well as for the grouped data, and we will explain these ideas with the help of simple examples. So till then, Allah Hafiz.